In this episode of my Godot UI tutorial series, we're creating a transition scene system where we can fade in and out automatically when changing scenes. These tutorials are part of a long series of user interface tutorials for Godot, and as always, you can grab the source files for this and all of my Godot tutorials on my Patreon. I'm working from the last episode's scene changing structure. The goal is to overlay a transition controller scene over the rest of the nodes and animate a black background. First, create a new control scene named Transition Controller with this structure. The color rect will have a black background with an alpha setting of 0. Set layout mode to anchors and anchor to full rect. In the animation player, create a new animation called Fade In, and create an animation track for the color property of the color rect node. The animation length should be 1 second. Set the alpha to 255 or 100% on the first frame and 0 on the last frame. Create another animation called Fade Out and reverse the color settings we created. 0 on the first frame and 100% on the last frame. Next, add the transition controller scene to your main scene. If you're working from your own setup, you want the transition controller scene to be at the bottom of the scene tree so it has a higher layer priority, meaning it is layered on top. In the transition controller scene, add a script. Set the class name to scene transition controller and add 2 export variables to reference our color rect node and animation player node. Be sure to assign those in the inspector. Create a new function, transition, with parameters for the animation string and length of the transition in seconds. The function will reference the animation player node and call the fade animations we just created. For the length of the animation, we're adjusting the animation speed by dividing the length of the animation 1 second by our desired length. Next, we adjust our game controller script that handles our scene changing. We need to add new parameters to the 3 functions: a transition boolean, the transition in animation string, transition out animation string, and the transition length. I've also set defaults so we don't have to set those every time we call the function. Before we swap any scenes, we check if we want to transition. If true, we run our transition animation with our desired settings and await till the animation is finished. In our case, the scene should now be black and we can swap our scenes. After we run our scene change code, we run another transition to fade in the scene. Remember to add these changes to each function as well. You should now be able to fade in and fade out when changing scenes. You can also create your own animations and run those, including shader-based transitions.